This is a personal attempt to reconstruct with a camera the plight of an island community which survived more than 700 years of English occupation and then nearly sank under the weight of its own heroes and clergy. More than half a century ago, at Easter 1916, the Irish made yet another attempt in a centuries-long history of insurrection to break free of England. A rebellion led by poets and socialists, it was one of the first attempts by a small nation to throw off a colonial power by force. It was also the ambition of these idealists to awaken a lethargic and indifferent Irish population to an ideal of freedom. But what came out of that rebellion? The poets and socialists were executed. Finally, after a long struggle, in 1922, Ireland won independence of a sort.
The kind of society that actually grew up was a society of what I call urbanized peasants. They were a society which was without moral courage, with constantly observing a self-interested silence, never speaking in moments of crisis, and in constant alliance with a completely obscurantist, repressive, regressive, and uncultivated church.
This was the society we who were born in the 30s inherited. We were told that we were the sons and daughters of revolutionary heroes and that our role now was to be one of gratitude, well-behaved gratitude. To criticize the society our old guerrilla fighters had built up was to be a traitor. We were to keep quiet, and they, like jolly but tough old uncles, would take care of us. What they expected from us now was a new kind of heroism, heroic obedience. The 50s brought a deepening depression, unemployment, emigration, an oppressive sense of frustration. We weren't encouraged to look too closely into what had gone wrong.
As a young communist 12 years ago, the church was able, by using a paper called the Catholic Standard, to completely destroy any opportunity for employment of myself or any other communist of the time. I recall an incident when the front page of a newspaper, at this stage, mark you, I was only about 21, 22, when the front page of the Catholic Standard carried a large statement and a photograph of me saying, "This man is dangerous." Now, that might sound funny, but in point of fact, it meant 5 years exile because I simply could not get a job until I came back as a theatre director.
Not only are the national schools supervised by the parish priests, but schools and colleges are, with rare exceptions, in the hands of priests, nuns, and Christian brothers. With control of the schools, the clergy's fervent concern is that the child should get a good start in life.
Because of Adam's sin, we are born without sanctifying grace. Our intellect is darkened, our will is weak, and our passions inclined to evil, and we are subject to suffering and death.
What will they grow up to be? Perhaps one of them will grow up to be a school teacher and write a book like The Dark, judged indecent 3 years ago and banned. McGarren was dismissed from his post by a parish priest. For half a century, one of Ireland's most notorious exports has been its writers.
Oh, I'm a member of the appeal board of the censorship. The appeal board, which considers cases where books have been banned by the censorship board, but where the publisher or the author appeals. Or a certain number of members of parliament can also appeal, and that comes before us, and we take the ban off. Sometimes. Sometimes we don't. Well, I suppose, to give it its due, it is a break away from what was into what is and what will be. And I suppose it will all acquire a character. It will acquire a tradition. It will acquire a mellowness, which is not there yet. I think that's what's wrong with us, really. That's we're at the beginning of a new age, really a new, wonderful age of the world, but at the beginning of it. And therefore, it hasn't any, so to speak, tradition or character about it yet, but it's acquiring it every moment, every day. And I wish it well. I wish it well. I won't see it. That's about all I can say about it.
I see it coming soon, and the sky it is so cloudy you can scarcely see the moon, and the moon, Joseph, he will the rain.